Congratulations on this series. It gives us a look into the highs and lows of Uber. Why would you say this show is a must-watch for audiences?
Well, Uber changed the world in a lot of ways and is such an example of how business works today, where profits are king and entrepreneurs have to win at all costs, no matter who gets negatively impacted. And, there's something really exciting about watching somebody just grow like crazy. It's the fastest growing company in history. And so there's a lot of those rat-a-tat-tat fireworks and thrills. But then it also asks some real questions about what are the real downsides of our kind of runaway capitalism that just says, hey, companies just need to make money and value for shareholders no matter who they have to step on.
No, absolutely. I'm curious for you, like upon doing a research on the company, the character you play, which I'm about to get to, but is there anything that kind of surprised you along your research about the entire Uber story?
I didn't know that Uber was actually breaking the law, like actually committing crimes. I knew that they were like, oh, maybe they did some stuff that's questionable, but like no, they were building software to systematically break the law and, subvert the laws of these cities that said how taxis have to run, so that they can keep people safe and stuff. So it's actually a crime story in a funny way that I did not know about.
Wow. I feel like in a sense we're getting like it's reminiscent of like Wolf of Wall Street or maybe The Social Network. What kind of common threads would you say those stories have with this one?
Yeah, so Wolf of Wall Street, and that reminds me of kind of the granddaddy of these movies, Oliver Stone's Wall Street, where the catchphrase was greed is good. And what greed is good means is, and this is actually a really serious, I think, problem with our whole country, frankly, is we're told that all a company has to do is make money. And if it's making money, well, then it's doing the right thing and let the market decide what's actually right or wrong. Who are we to say what's ethical or not ethical? If it's making money, then it's making money. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're about to drive off a cliff. So I think Uber is one example of it. Wolf of Wall Street is another good example of it. Facebook is another good example of it. There are a million other examples. This is something that I think we as a generation have to change about our world.
I completely agree. Let's talk about becoming Travis Kalanick. I think I'm saying the last name
Travis
correctly.
Kalanick, yeah.
Kalanick.
Yeah.
So tell me, what kind of research did you do prior to becoming him?
So Super Pumped, the series is based on a book called Super Pumped that was written by a New York Times journalist. So everything in our story happened, and it was vetted by a direct source to a journalist and confirmed by a secondary source. It's all very, adherent to journalistic standards. So the book was sort of our Bible in making the show, but I also went and did my own additional research and talked to a whole bunch of people that know Travis, that knew Travis, that were working closely with him to just get a sense of like, not just what happened, but what it felt like while it was happening. And that was really helpful. And you get a sense of the person that's beyond what you read in journalistic sources, and actually found that he was in a lot of ways really beloved and winning and inspiring and kind of a great guy in many ways, despite his many shortcomings.
Very interesting. Well, I was about to ask, like, have you heard from him? Do you hope to hear from him? It doesn't sound like it's happened yet. Do you hope to?
Yeah, no, it hasn't. And yeah, who knows? I'm not in charge, man.
Who knows? You just might get a DM or something.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious for you, playing an actual person who's still alive. Is that something that was challenging at all? Or if so, in what ways? And especially because it's in a way that's not that flattering.
Mhm.
I'm curious about what that was
Yeah.
like.
It's funny what's flattering and what's not flattering, because I think that, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, as an example, like, I don't mean to compare myself to Leo, but like at all. But he's playing a pretty bad dude in that movie. And yet you watch a lot of it and you're kind of like, oh, I kind of secretly want to be him, you know? And that's because there's a part of all of us. We have a certain animal urge to just take what we want and like F everybody else. Like we all have that in us. We're animals, you know?
Yeah.
So getting to really indulge that primal instinct, I think there is something really compelling and kind of weirdly flattering about it. It's fun sometimes to be bad.
No, absolutely. And also, you should compare yourself to Leo, or just be like, I'm my own. You're Joseph
Exactly.
Gordon-Levitt. You're phenomenal. You're
Hey,
fantastic.
thanks.
The fact that I'm
Thanks.
even getting to talk to you is amazing. Like, you are one of the greats. I'm just saying.
Very
Um,
sweet of you. Thank you, bud.
you're very welcome. So what do you think? Why do you think Travis's ego started to get the better of him? And obviously, it took a toll on everything, including his relationship with Bill Gurley.
Good question. It happens to all of us, right? We're all ego driven. And this is, in a way, it's similar to one of those like rock star biopics that you would see about, whether it's Queen or Ray Charles or like any of these kind of, movies where someone meets this meteoric success and then is surrounded by people who want some of that success and maybe loses touch with the people who will check them. And this, I feel like, I mean, I haven't achieved the billions of dollars of success that like Travis Kalanick has, but like being successful in Hollywood to the degree that I have been, I felt really lucky that I have had my old friends, my family, my people around me who will say like, who will say no, who won't just say yes. And I think that if you're around nobody but yes people, you'll lose your mind.
I'm curious. I mean, you bring that up, so I'm just like randomly asking. I'm curious, is there like a specific moment that vividly pops up in your mind about like a family or friend checking you about your ego?
Oh, good question. Good question. Um, let's see. I don't have like a ready-made answer for that. That's such a good question. This is going to inspire my journal entry for tonight. I'm gonna have to write a short story based on your question, Faisal. I don't have one right now, but
No
I'll get back to
worries.
you.
No, I'm like catching you off guard. Let's talk about Elisabeth Shue. She plays your mom in this movie, and she also played your mom. Oh, sorry, in the show. She also played your mom in Mysterious Skin back in the early 2000s. I'm curious, what was it like reuniting with her in that sense and having her play your mom again?
I'm so glad you asked about Elisabeth Shue, one of my favorite people in the world. Mysterious Skin, and thank you for bringing up that movie. This, indie movie that I care very deeply about, that was really meaningful to me and to my career. And she played my mom in that movie, and I think kind of really mentored me in a very important way as an artist, and we've stayed friends. And so I actually didn't know. She surprised me. She didn't tell me that she was doing this until the first day that we all were working together, and I was like, what? And I saw her and kind of burst out laughing. It was such a sweet moment to get to reunite with her.
Oh, I love that. That's a great story. And then another great person you get to work with on the show, Uma Thurman. She's playing Huffington. What was it like seeing her portray like on set for the first time in like full hair and makeup as Ariana?
Well, I've been a adoring fan of Uma Thurman's ever since Pulp Fiction. I mean, she is such an icon, and her portrayal of Ariana Huffington is a brand new Uma Thurman with all of the magnetism and grace and poise of Uma Thurman, but in this whole other way. She knocked it out of the park. I love her performance in this, and every time I was acting with her, it was just joy bombs inside my head as we were doing it.
Oh my God, wow, that's fantastic. I'm gonna wrap, but I have a quick question about a future project. You're about to play cult leader Jim Jones with Chloe Grace Moretz. Tell me
Hmm.
about that. How are you gearing up to play that person?
I have a lot to learn. We just really signed up for that role, and I've been busy on Super Pumped. But I do think that nowadays leaders of cults are really important to examine. I mean, this has existed throughout human history, but I think that right now, especially with how social media works, these cults of personality are incredibly impactful, probably more than they have been in a long time. I think we elected a president in 2016 that was, kind of a cult leader in a way, and it's something we should be examining. And so I'm really excited to tell that story.